Innovation Israel, the show that brings you the latest news and cutting-edge achievements directly from Tel Aviv, the heart of the startup nation. On today's show, we'll meet three startups, KMS Lighthouse, Power, and 3D Systems, who are bringing innovation to each of their unique fields to the benefit of us all. But first, a few headlines out of Israel. Israel's life sciences industry is booming, according to a new report released recently by the Israel Advanced Technology Industries, an umbrella organization of the high-tech, life sciences, and other advanced tech industries. The new report takes an in-depth look at the thriving life sciences industry in Israel and found that there are about 1,600 life science companies active today, employing more than 83,000 people. And there were about 1,400 companies established in Israel in the last decade alone. That's about 139 companies every year on average. But of those, only about half are still active. So what compromises this booming industry? Well, mainly medical device companies, which accounts for almost 40% of the market, followed by healthcare IT and pharmaceutical companies representing about 32% of life science companies. It's also comprised of agrobiotech and diagnostics companies. In 2018, life science companies received investments totaling some $1.5 billion, where about 40% of this came from local investors. And over the last 5 years, life sciences companies raised more than $2.7 billion on the NASDAQ exchange in the US. The report also found that 2018 was a remarkable year for mergers and acquisitions for Israel's life science companies. 4 of the 10 largest high-tech deals that year were of life science companies, with Mazor Robotics reaching a $1.5 billion milestone, making it the third largest tech deal in Israel in 2018. Let's hope that 2019 also shapes up to be another remarkable year for Israel's life science sector. Knowledge is the key. It's a common saying and one that is of the utmost importance, especially in the high-tech field. And so this brings me to my next guest, KMS Lighthouse, the company behind Lighthouse, the next-generation knowledge management solution. They provide real-time access to accurate and consistent knowledge to improve customer and employee experience alike. And here to tell us more about it is Sagi Eliyahu, the CEO of KMS Lighthouse. Welcome.
Thank you.
So let's jump right in. What exactly does Lighthouse do?
So what we do, first of all, Lighthouse is a global player in knowledge management. I think this is what you just started. And what we do, we are helping customers and agents to find the information quickly and easily in order to provide service eventually to their customers. And I can give you a very simple example. If you call AT&T, which is a global leader in telephony, and you ask a simple question, how much iPhone cost? You are depending on the agent that picked the call, and I'm telling you 3 calls, 3 answers. And this is the challenge that Lighthouse is trying to overcome with our unique technology and enabling to find information quickly and easily during the course of a call or any interaction with customers.
So this is of the utmost importance for businesses, and I know it's quite a big industry, the issue of knowledge management. What makes you guys unique in this regard?
So it's a good question because the market, this market exists for many years. I think customers are reaching a point that the service they are providing is becoming commodity. So like telephony, take telephony as example, or banking. Mm-hmm. Each customer can get the same service elsewhere, and they are fighting to give a better service. And this is where Lighthouse is getting into the picture. Today, to find information, I just mentioned, and you know, it can be more complex information, it's complex. And you have a call, and you want to reply to someone on the call and give him the right answer.
In real time, yeah.
It will be in real time, and this is where Lighthouse technology come to play. We have patents around the technology, which eventually enable us in real time to ask a human question and give the right answer in no time. So this is what we do.
So let's talk a little bit about the technology and how it works. You have a number of products, a number of solutions. Can you tell us about them?
So the main solutions, first of all, it's for call centers, and this is the technology I just mentioned. It's coming with NLP, machine learning, and all on the technology that enable you to find information quickly and easily. So this is the main buyers. But customers that start we have Bank Leumi or other banks that work with us, so they start on a call center, and they say, listen, we have the same challenge on the branches, because the same audience are coming to the branches, and they have the same questions, how to take mortgage, how to return mortgage. and they need access to information. So our technology currently supporting customers on a call center. It can be on branches, in shops in telcos. It can be in a technician, by the way, yes. Technician that coming to your home to fix your router or the service, and he's asking Lighthouse what to do. Before that, he was calling his colleague and asking what to do. And currently, they have Lighthouse on a tablet or on iPhone or mobile, and Lighthouse can advise what to do. And this is.
So let's say I'm a company. How does it work? How does your product work? I install a software. Is it a software? Is it a? Can you tell us a little bit about that? Get into a little bit more into the details.
So of course it's a cloud service. We offer it on a cloud. You don't need to install anything. What we do, we are coming with the best practice, how to take information that exists in organization for 30, 50, you name it, many years, and how to bring it to Lighthouse to enable us to find information quickly and easily. So it's a best practice and a project. It's not a long project, so a project can typically be a month to 3 months, kickoff to go live. But it requires some best practice in order to onboard the content and the information. And this is part of the uniqueness we are bringing as well. Because currently we are serving globally more than 100 customers. Among them is companies like AIG, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, the large insurance company, Qantas, the airline, bank.
So that's my question. I mean, this can go pretty much across every field. What industries are you in? You mentioned you were in call centers, but is it across a number of industries?
Yeah, so the answer is definitely yes. It's, by the way, we have cross industries. Healthcare is a big market because in healthcare, anything you touch, it's not a mistake, it can cause a big issue eventually.
Absolutely.
So healthcare is a big market for us. We serve companies like GE Healthcare, Kaiser Permanente in the US. We are cross-industry. We have airlines, we have mobile operators, telco operators, we have retailers, Shupersal, we have other larger retailers working with us. I would say we are cross-industry. And of course, the main markets always will be finance, because over there a mistake means a lot of money, and healthcare. And this is where we see the largest pickup also in the US and other markets that we operate.
Now, you say you have clients worldwide. Let's talk a little bit about the future of this industry. I mean, knowledge is something that's constantly becoming more and more available to everyone. So how do you fit in looking down the road?
So the idea is as follows. A customer can actually come and request a service via omni-channel. So he can come, we just discussed, to a shop, to a branch. He can call the call center. But currently we see a digital transformation, and digital transformation is driven by knowledge. So even a chatbot or anything, you are trying to ask a question, eventually the chatbot will understand what you want, but it needs to retrieve the information from the organization. And this is where Lighthouse is serving as a pure knowledge base, omni-channel. So if you have a chatbot, we plug in the chatbot to Lighthouse. You have a CRM like Salesforce, we plug in to Lighthouse, and you manage all the knowledge in a single repository and feed all information and all channels from the same place. And this is eventually making omni-channel and helping to win the customer journey.
Great. Well, Sagi, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you very much.
Have you ever wondered what your life will look like in another decade? Or what humanity will look like even farther down the road? Will we have flying cars? Will robots and AI be the norm? What will our cities look like and our homes? Well, a new program launched by Tel Aviv University and Stanford University in the United States aimed to answer just that. 20 years ago, connecting to the internet took quite some time, not to mention waiting for a simple photo to download. Today, it seems as though everything is happening online, and so as people spend more and more time in cyberspace, this begs the question, what's next? To answer this, Tel Aviv University and Stanford created the Digital Living 2030 program that will connect engineering students from Israel and the US to lead the development of infrastructures, processes, methods, and algorithms, hardware and software components to create and support this new world. According to Professor Irad Ben-Gal of the Department of Industrial Engineering, a founder of the Digital Living 2030 project and head of the TAU Stanford Smart Cities component of the Koret Foundation Tel Aviv University Bay Area Collaborative Initiative, we'll see many changes over the next 10 years. He said we can expect to see accelerated progress in autonomous transportation, personal digital medicine, smart cities, robots and artificial intelligence, virtual environments, and applications that affect our personal lives. For the most part, humanity will benefit from these tech achievements. But Ben Gal warned that this new future could see a widening of economic and social gaps. As for looking way into the future to 2130, Ben Gal said that while nothing is certain, there's one thing he's sure of, that the integration of the digital world and the physical world will be totally complete. Electric vehicle drivers face a daily challenge of deciding when and where to charge their vehicles, for how long, and how to fit it into their busy schedule. This challenge intensifies for more than 50% of the population that cannot charge their cars at home, simply because they don't own a private parking spot. That's where Power comes in. They are developing a smart and powerful electric vehicle charging assistant that makes public charging easily accessible to drivers and provides optimized charging plans and recommendations. This startup was part of the High Road Accelerator program, which specializes in urban tech, smart cities, and smart mobility. And here to tell us more about it is Amir Shapira, founder of Power. Welcome.
Hi.
So why don't you tell us about Power? What exactly do you do?
So we're an early stage startup, and we're building a solution for electric vehicle drivers to help them better manage the way they charge their vehicle. So if you're an electric vehicle owner and you don't have a parking at home, it means that you cannot charge at night. You will be constantly looking for places to charge your vehicle, thinking where to put it into your schedule, how much it's going to cost you, where do you find an available charger. So all those things that go into your head, you're occupied by them, you're disturbed by them. And we basically take the hassle out of the charging by telling drivers exactly where and when to charge based on their patterns, their needs, their schedule. So we kind of optimize the charging for them.
So before we get into that, I want to kind of understand what infrastructure is available today for electric car drivers.
So it depends where you are in the world, but in places where electric vehicles are more advanced, you would see thousands of charging stations, public charging stations on the streets. There are slow chargers, fast chargers, ultra-fast chargers that you can find on highways, and at people's houses or workplaces. But the fact is that between 40 to 50% of the households in the Western world don't have private parking, so they park on street. So now imagine that you are one of those and you take an electric vehicle and you don't have where to charge at night, you don't have where to charge at work, so how do you manage with that? And what happens is people today don't take fully electric vehicles. They might take a plug-in hybrid, but they don't take fully electric vehicles simply because of the hassle. So we're trying to solve that and actually accelerate the adoption of electric vehicles, have more people take electric vehicles today even if they don't have a private parking.
Now, for those who don't have electric vehicles or who may not know, charging takes a considerable amount of time. How long does it take to charge a car?
So it can take you today anywhere between 40 minutes to 10 hours, depending on your vehicle, depending on the charger. At home, it takes like all night. But when you're talking about public charging, the average would be like 1 or 2 hours. This technology is advancing, so it'll be faster. But still, you would have, like on the roads next to your house, you might have slow chargers, even though there are fast ones out there in the highway. So it'll be a mix, and people will need to manage when they charge in slow chargers and when they charge faster. So like when you're going on a road trip, you might charge in a fast charger. But on a daily basis, you need those slow chargers as well.
Okay, so let's say I'm an electric car owner. How does your product help me?
So you would have an app that would basically tell you proactively when and where to charge. So you don't need to think about it, you don't need to plan it, it plans for you. So what we do is we connect to the vehicles, we connect to the charging stations in the environment, we might connect to your calendar if you will allow us to know your schedule for the next day. And using some machine learning algorithms, we predict when and where is the best time for you to charge, and we proactively tell you. So you don't need to open an app, look for an available charger. You don't need to think about it. It will tell you. You might look, at the end of the weekend, you might open your app and say, okay, what are my charging options for this week? It'll tell you, okay, this week, Tuesday and Thursdays, those are your charging spots. And it gives kind of a relief. There's no anxiety. You know when you need to charge. Someone's taking care for you, knowing exactly what you need.
So your app basically takes care of everything. I just open it and it'll tell me, go charge at 3 o'clock today at this location.
Exactly. And it's not just random. So it will schedule it, optimized to your needs. So it'll be in parallel to things that you do in life. So not when you go from A to B, because when you drive and you're going from A to B, and the car tells you, hey, stop in the middle for 40 minutes to charge, that might be too late. You're hurrying, to pick up your kids or to a meeting. You don't want to stop for 40 minutes. So what we do is we schedule charging to happen in parallel to things that you do in life. So when you go to the gym, shopping, or you attend a meeting, that's when you want the car to be charged while you're doing other stuff, not sit and wait for it to get charged.
This raises just one question for me. Through your app, you basically know a person's schedule, you know their habits. How do you deal with sort of the privacy aspect in that regard?
So of course we comply with all the privacy regulations. Many apps today, if you open Google Calendar or any other app, they know your schedule. And by the way, it's not a must. So we will learn the patterns and we will know how to schedule things for you, even if you don't allow us to connect to your calendar. But you will understand that it will bring you that amount of value that you say, okay, I'm willing to put my calendar here as well as in many other apps, so it will actually give me the best optimized charging schedule for me, so I don't need to think about it. I don't need to take care of it.
So hassle-free. And what stage are you in now? You said you're an early stage startup, so is the product available? Is the app available?
Well, not yet. We're launching soon our MVP, our minimum viable product, in London. So our first target market is Europe, and we're starting in London. So very soon, it's going to be out there.
Great. Well, we can't wait. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. Fantastic. As technology improves, so too does the field of medicine, where innovative tech has led to major medical advances. But doctors and medical professionals need to learn and train on these new technologies to be better equipped to help their patients, all of us. That's where 3D Systems, formerly known as Symbionics, comes in. They provide simulation, training, and education solutions for medical professionals and the healthcare industry, essentially saving lives worldwide. And here to tell us more about it is Ariel Ben Moshe, Director of Research and Development at 3D Systems. Welcome.
Hi, Lidar.
So let's jump right in. Tell me about 3D Systems. What exactly do you do?
Okay, so I'm the R&D director for the Symbionics product division within 3D Systems. We develop surgical simulators to train surgeons on performing complex life-saving surgeries. The basic concept of our product is very similar to professional flight simulator that we all know today. These are human-like mannequins that allow a virtual environment for a surgeon to take an actual surgical tool and practice the hands-on performing of a surgery. In a virtually controlled environment, he can make mistakes, he can learn from his mistake, he doesn't hurt any patients in the process.
So let's talk about this field, sort of the training that's involved. We often hear about doctors going to medical schools, but there's so much more beyond that.
Yeah. So within the training, doctors, they learn a lot. They learn a lot of knowledge, but they also need to practice their skill. They need to master the hand-eye coordination, the maneuvers, taking complex decisions in a stressful situation. This is where the simulator comes in. We integrate innovative technologies from the field of computer graphics, physical simulation, robotics, manufacture dedicated hardware, and build a completely virtual environment which gives the surgeon the ability to hands-on practice the surgical step. He can cut, he can stitch, he can implant a medical device within a patient. The patient can bleed, okay? A life-threatening scenario may occur, and he needs to respond and treat it.
So I'm curious, how long does it typically take to train a surgeon, a doctor, on a new piece of equipment?
Okay, so our simulators provide many hours of training scenarios, okay? Because a surgeon can repeat the same training scenario over and over and constantly learn from his mistakes, but he will also need to be exposed to new scenarios all the time. We also provide a platform which allows the very experienced physician to bring the very rare case, which you may encounter once in a career, to every young surgeon and let them be prepared.
So can you tell us a little about the history of the company? Because this is a fascinating field.
Yeah. So Symbionics was an Israeli startup that was founded in the late 90s here in the Tel Aviv area. And it's a world-leading company today with thousands of simulators across the globe. Basically, every well-respected medical institute in the world have our simulators and train his surgeons on it on a daily basis. 5 years ago, we were acquired by 3D Systems, and we are now integrated into the healthcare services division.
And who are your clients today? You mentioned that you're in pretty much, is it hospitals, is it universities? Where are you physically located?
Yeah, so we are actually everywhere. Okay, our clients are hospitals, training centers, university institutes which deals with medical training, and the medical device companies themselves. Today, when a medical device company wants to introduce into the market a new device, it needs to provide a training solution. Okay, and instead of building a training curriculum for surgeons on actual patients, which none of us wants to be a part of, okay, they approach us and say, please introduce the new medical device and the new surgery into your simulator, and we want to use it to train surgeons.
So medical device companies come to you with a new product, and then you have to sort of develop the curricula for the simulator.
Yeah, that's the job of my teams and my department. We use the virtual reality, augmented reality, and all of our complex technologies, and build a new medical device into the simulator.
And as more and more medical advances are being made, more sort of medical devices are introduced, where do you see the future of this?
So I believe a full immersive experience of training is the future of medical training. And we actually deal with that today. We use virtual reality technologies, which brings not only the small surgical area within the human body, but the whole operating theater into the practicing scenarios. So a surgeon does not only need to master the surgical skill today, but he also needs to take complex decisions when he gets interfered by the nurse, okay, or when something happens with the anesthesiologist in the operating theater, because everything affects the patient outcome. And we want to prepare the surgeons as best as possible to those scenarios.
Absolutely. Life-saving technology. Eliel Ben Moshe, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you.
And that's all the time we have for today's show. I'd like to thank the amazing startups who joined us, and remember to like us on Facebook at Israel English News, on Twitter at ILTV News, and visit us on our website at iltv.tv. I'm Nadar Gavelazi. Thanks for watching.